Welcome to a world of mystery, science, and adventure, where dreams defy reality, and light itself is no longer a limit. If you love epic stories and journeys beyond imagination, you're in the right place. Before we dive into the light beyond time, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new adventure. And if you'd like to support me directly, your help on Ko-Fi keeps this channel alive and growing. The light beyond time. Mike adjusted his glasses under the pale glow of the laboratory lights. The underground facility hummed with the constant rhythm of machinery, ventilation fans whirring, computers blinking, reactors pulsing faintly. The air smelled of steel, ozone, and the faintest trace of burnt solder. For years he and his colleague Sammy had lived down here, away from the world above, away from normal lives, chasing a dream so impossible that even they sometimes doubted their sanity. But tonight, their dream was almost ready. "Mike," Sammy said, his voice carrying both exhaustion and exhilaration. "The reactor stabilizers are holding. If the math is correct, and I know it is, we finally solved the light barrier problem." Mike looked up from the holographic schematic floating above the console. His brown eyes were bloodshot from years of sleepless nights. "Do you realize what this means? No more probes, no more theories. We're going to be the first to see beyond our star system, the first humans to leave the prison of light." The secret lab. The laboratory had been constructed decades earlier during a Cold War project that never saw the light of day. Hidden beneath a remote mountain range in a country that didn't officially acknowledge its existence, the facility was originally designed for nuclear research. But when that project was abandoned, a shadowy branch of government handed the keys to Mike and Sammy, two brilliant scientists with unconventional reputations. Mike was an American physicist who had defected from conventional academia after his radical papers on quantum tunneling were dismissed as fantasy. Sammy was an engineer from the Middle East, whose theories on energy containment had been considered unbuildable. Both had been ridiculed, exiled from their fields, and quietly recruited into this secret program. The two of them had spent years working in isolation, combining their genius, their stubbornness, and their desperation for recognition. Their families were long gone, their friends had given up on them, but in this underground temple of science, they found purpose, the dream of light. Their goal was not just to build a rocket. Humanity had already sent rockets to the moon, Mars, and even robotic probes to the edge of the solar system. But those journeys were slow, bound by the tyranny of light speed. To cross the galaxy at conventional speeds would take tens of thousands of years. Mike and Sammy wanted more. They wanted a vessel that could ride the very waves of light, not crawl beneath them, to reach stars in a human lifetime. It took decades. They built reactors that melted, engines that exploded, test chambers that collapsed into smoldering ruin. More than once they nearly died in accidents that would have erased their entire project, but failure only sharpened their resolve. And then after 30 long years, the prototype stood before them. The ship. It wasn't large, not compared to the massive space shuttles of the old era. It was sleek, sharp like a silver arrowhead, its hull forged from exotic alloys that could withstand energies no normal material could. At its core burned the photon drive, a reactor capable of folding quantum space and propelling the ship faster than the universe's ultimate limit.
Mike placed his hand on the hull. "She's beautiful."
Sammy grinned, though his eyes were hollow with fatigue. "She's more than beautiful. She's impossible, and she's ours."
They named the ship the Dawn. The launch. The day of the launch was silent and lonely. No crowds, no governments, no television broadcasts. Only the two of them, standing in the underground hangar, sealing themselves into the cockpit of a ship that should not exist.
Sammy strapped himself in, his hands trembling as he powered up the systems. "Coordinates locked. We're aiming for Proxima Centauri, 4 light-years away. If this works, if we really travel at the speed of light, we should reach it in minutes."
Mike's throat tightened. "And if it doesn't work?"
"Then we'll be the brightest explosion this mountain has ever seen."
The engines roared, a vibration like thunder rolling through their bones. The hangar roof split open, revealing the night sky above, endless, black, scattered with stars. For the first time in decades, Mike felt air on his face that wasn't filtered through lab ventilation.
"Here we go," Sammy whispered.
The dawn leapt upward and the Earth fell away. As the ship left the atmosphere, Mike watched the planet shrink beneath them. The blues, greens, and clouds of Earth shimmered in the window, a fragile jewel in the dark. Photon drive, initiating in 3, 2, 1. The stars stretched, the universe bent, and then, silence. They weren't moving, they were everywhere. It felt as if time had stopped, as if their bodies were suspended between heartbeats. And then, just as suddenly, it ended. Alarms chimed softly. The console flashed.
Mike, Sammy whispered, awe in his voice. Look.
Through the viewport, a red star burned. It was not the familiar sun. They had arrived at Proxima Centauri in less than 5 minutes.
Mike laughed, a wild, half-mad sound. We did it! We broke the universe!
And then he froze. Because orbiting that star was a planet, and it was not empty. The New World. The planet was lush, covered in vast oceans and green continents. Its atmosphere shimmered blue, breathable. But what shocked them most was the evidence of civilization. From orbit, they saw structures, towers of crystal, sprawling cities shaped like spirals, and lights that glittered in patterns across the night side of the world.
Mike, we're not alone.
The decision was reckless but irresistible. They landed. The air was warm, rich with oxygen. Strange flowers bloomed across the ground, glowing faintly with bioluminescence. The sky shimmered with 2 moons. The aliens. The creatures that emerged were tall and slender, their skin iridescent like pearl, their eyes vast and black with rings of light. They moved gracefully, as though gravity itself bent differently around them. The aliens did not attack. They watched. And then, one of them reached out a hand. Mike hesitated, then stepped forward. The moment their hands touched, a flood of images filled his mind. Visions, feelings, emotions. They did not speak words, but they communicated. The aliens welcomed them. 7 months among the stars. For 7 months, Mike and Sammy lived on this alien world. Each day was an adventure. They studied the cities, which were powered by crystals that drew energy directly from starlight. They learned to eat alien fruits that glowed faintly in the dark. They watched rituals where the aliens sang songs that bent the air into patterns of color. Mike spent his days cataloging everything, the architecture, the technology, the biology. He filled endless data logs with discoveries that could change human history. Sammy grew close to the aliens, learning their ways. He joined their hunts, their dances, their meditations beneath the twin moons. Sometimes he would sit in silence with them for hours, sharing visions through touch, his eyes filled with tears at the beauty of it all. But not everything was peaceful. There were storms, monstrous tempests of energy that ripped across the land, forcing them to take shelter. There were creatures, massive, insect-like predators, that stalked the wilderness. One night, Mike and Sammy barely escaped an attack, their alien hosts saving them at the last moment. Yet despite the dangers, they felt alive, more alive than they had ever been on Earth. The decision. After 7 months, the longing returned. "We can't stay," Mike said one night, staring at the alien city from a hilltop. "The world has to know. Humanity has to see what we've found." Sammy frowned. "And if they're not ready, if they fear it, then we'll make them ready. We didn't come all this way to keep it secret." The aliens seemed to understand. They touched their minds once more, sending feelings of sorrow and hope, farewells that were deeper than words. Mike and Sammy boarded the Dawn once again. The return. The trip back was as fast as the journey there. When Earth appeared in the viewport, their hearts swelled. Cities glittered, continents shone. It was home. But as they approached, something felt wrong. The continents looked different. The coastlines had shifted. The cities were unrecognizable, towers of glass and steel that stretched higher than anything they remembered. Alarms blared as they entered the atmosphere. Automated defense drones locked onto them, demanding identification codes they did not possess. Mike and Sammy barely managed to land in a remote desert, far from civilization. When they stepped out, they discovered the truth. Over 1,000 years had passed. The strangers in time. The theory was true. Traveling at the speed of light had warped time. For them, only months had passed. For Earth, it had been 10 centuries. The world was alien to them now. Languages had evolved, cultures had vanished, new empires had risen and fallen. Humanity had changed beyond recognition. When Mike and Sammy tried to explain who they were, people laughed. When they showed their ship, officials called it a hoax. They went to universities, presenting data, evidence of the alien world. Scholars dismissed them as frauds. They went to the media, telling their story. Journalists called them lunatics. Everywhere they turned, they were ridiculed, rejected, hunted by authorities who feared their claims. Mike shouted in anger, "We discovered life, civilization! We proved faster than light travel! Why won't you believe us?" But to the people of this new Earth, they were just two madmen out of place. The Last Stand. Desperate, they decided to prove it. They prepared the Dawn for one final launch, planning to take volunteers, scientists, anyone willing to see the truth with their own eyes. But before they could, government forces surrounded them. Soldiers demanded they surrender the ship. Sammy looked at Mike, his eyes filled with fire. "They'll never let us show the truth." Mike tightened his grip on the controls. "Then we'll show it anyway." The Dawn roared to life, lifting into the sky as gunfire rained around them. Missiles streaked through the air. The ship shuddered, alarms screaming, but they broke free. They soared into the stars once more, vanishing into the void. Epilogue. No one knows what became of Mike and Sammy. Some say they perished in the void, their ship torn apart by the fury of Earth's defenses. Others whisper that they returned to the alien world, to live among the beings who had welcomed them. And some believe they are still out there, traveling from star to star, searching for a place where truth and wonder are not feared, but embraced. But one thing is certain: they were the first humans to break the chains of light, the first to step beyond time itself, the first to prove that we are not alone. And though the world may have forgotten them, the stars remember. This was the story of Mike and Sammy, the men who broke the chains of light and stepped beyond time itself. If you enjoyed this journey, share it with your friends, leave a like, and subscribe for more epic stories. And for those who want to support me directly, check out my Ko-Fi page. The link is in the description. Thank you for being here. Your support means the world. Until the next story, keep looking to the stars.